This is the workshop series called Practical Solutions to Strengthening Your Organization. And we recognize that there are skills and areas of expertise that are super vital to your organizations and the growth of your patient organizations. So to support patient leaders such as yourself, Global Skin and IFPA are offering this series to cover critical areas of development to help your organization as it grows and expands its capacity to support patient leaders. My name is Nicole Sudiaco, and I'm the Member Services Manager at Global Skin, and I'll be supporting the moderation of today's workshop, Organizational Sustainability and Why Youth Engagement Matters. So before I introduce the patient experts speaking today, I would like to go over just a few logistical items. So number one, this is a workshop format. So we encourage active participation. And if you would like to share your name, your organization, and where in the world you're joining us today in the chat box below, that'd be great. I know there's lots of people from all over the world, so welcome. Number two, the session will be recorded. So we'll share the recording after the workshop's done. And today's session is going to be about 1 hour long. The presentation portion will be 30 to 40 minutes, and then we'll have 15 to group discussion afterwards. And I'm sure you have lots of questions for Cornelia and Charlie already, so we'll get to those right after. And then to maintain bandwidth, I will ask for everyone to turn off their cameras and microphones when Charlie, Cornelia are presenting, just to make sure everything runs smoothly. So I would like to now introduce also Janina from IFPA, who are our co-hosts for the workshop series. So Janina oversees the annual World Psoriasis Day campaign and facilitates IFPA members' development through fund projects. Janina is a Master of Global Health with special training in medical peace and e-health. So Janina, if you'd like to go ahead.
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you for introduction. And just very 1 minute. So many voices. I'm having some technical problems.
I think it should be okay now, Janina. I've muted the other accounts. Can you try again? Okay,
now can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I will not show any slides, anything to avoid any problems. So yes, I'm Janina, working at IFPA with Global Campaign and currently also studying medicine. So I have a lot under my belt, and I've been working with NGOs for over 10 years, I think. And before joining IFPA, I've been involved in the Youth in Action project in Europe. So it is very exciting to be here and to discuss engagement. And a little bit about IFPA. So we are a community of psoriatic disease patients across the world, and we are united about, I think, 63 members at the moment in 56 countries, and we are all united for the same mission. And our mission is to unite, strengthen, and lead the global psoriatic disease community to improve the life of all people affected by psoriatic disease. And we are doing it through several goals that are global representation, lead global advocacy, strengthen member capacity, share knowledge, and stakeholders. At IFPA, we have several flagship projects. Of course, global advocacy is the main one. Then we have Psoriasis Day, IFPA Conference, IFPA Accelerator Program, and IFPA Forum. But today we're united for youth engagement. And I will talk a little bit about our project view, which is called IFPA Island. I'm sorry, I'm speaking so slow because I can hear myself 3 times echoing, so it is very difficult. So yes, we have this project IFPA Island, where we have our ambassador playing the game online. This is a good opportunity for young people to connect on the same platform, share their experience about psoriatic disease, and play a game at the same time. If you check IFPA's website, we have a toolkit that you can download, and you can see how to engage youth and how to play the game. I think I will stop here because it's so difficult for me to speak. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Janina. Just for everyone's knowledge, I will share my screen again, just so that you can see what Janina's trying to present. It's very cool. So I'll go ahead. Oh. Hello, can everyone still hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
And you see the IFPA island?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So it's an online game that IFPA does that allows young people to play. Oh, it doesn't seem to be working. Hi everyone, sorry about that. Can you see me? We're having lots of technical difficulties today, so maybe we'll just go ahead and Cornelia, you can share your slides.
All right, sure. I'll do it in a second. Can everyone see my screen?
We can, yes.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Nicole, for the invitation. Yes, so I am Cornelia. I am the Vice President of the EPF Youth Group, and I am an MS patient located in Romania, and this is the youth group in our last fall meeting. I will briefly start with the background of our group. We are part of EPF, and we represent the youth perspective from different patient communities from all over Europe, from different disease areas. We are between 18 and 30 years old, and we meet monthly online and twice per year in person. Since 2020, we have representative rights on the EPF board, so we have full voting rights. And for people to join our team, must be, of course, between 18 and 30 and need an endorsement letter from an EPF member organization. Our goals are strengthening the involvement and representation of young patients in patient organizations. Some of you may already receive the survey from EPF about this. Then is promoting young patients' rights and recognition of their needs and expectation. I think this is a more general goal for patient organizations, but our focus is, of course, on young patients. Then we encourage better integration of young patients within societies, and for this we have worked on several projects such as sexual health and well-being or employment for chronic patients. Last but not last is empowering young patients to develop leadership and advocacy skills, efficacy and confidence. Just a bit about my story. So first time when I started to feel quote unquote like a patient was when I was in high school, when I had two episodes of Epstein-Barr virus. And the thing is that when I went to the doctor, he was treating me like it's not that important and it cannot do much for me. But what bothered me the most was that he minimized my experience. So in the end, I started minimizing myself as well. A few years afterwards, I had the MS episode when the weight has changed. The weight of my diagnosis has changed. Like it was kind of put the correct way, but in this episode, I was a sort of spectator for my own show. they were taking all the decisions and I was just agreeing and executing. So what I felt in a change was that I'm too young to take any decision about my disease, which of course led me to the denial phase, when everyone was saying that everything is all right, nothing has changed, except it did for me. Then a few years after that, I started to be more curious about why am I doing this treatment? Why do I need to do these regular checkups? And I got involved in the national organization, and then I ended up in the EPF. So now I want to tell you a story about why is youth involvement important, with an experience that I had last year. I participated in a hypothetical case study. So the moderator invented this case study where teenagers with moderate acne could possibly change the existing antibiotics. The scope of the exercise was to answer to several questions so that the design of the trial would be would meet better the needs of the patients and of course of the research. And what was interesting was that we were 8 people in the team. 6 people were around, I don't know, 40, 50 years old, and only 2 we were under 30, but definitely not adolescents. And the thing is that we all were trying to place ourselves in adolescents' shoes and taking decisions based on our assumptions. And the thing is that this is actually although it's a game, it was a game, it was an exercise, it's actually showing the kind of the real life situation. And it became very clear for me that if you're trying to design a project for a certain target group, in this case, the youth, it's very important to involve people from patients from that target group in the design. So yeah, young people bring valuable perspective on the table and definitely saves a lot of time and resources. So why is it so difficult to involve young patients? Well, first of all, the long-term commitment is difficult for a young person because lots of things change in your 20s, like you finish college, you maybe get a job, or maybe you get married, maybe you want to start a family. I don't know. There are lots of things that can change in that period. Then there's a lack of alignment in communication because usually the youth programs are designed by adults, and adults have a different way of communicating with compared to young people. Then it is difficult to keep them engaged and be consistent with their work, and also to keep them motivated. But most of all, it's difficult for them to find balance among life, work, school, volunteer, hobbies, and what other things they may have in their lives. So some things that can be considered for the long-term commitment is having a backup person to take some responsibilities. Then for the communication, try asking young people how the information best reaches them, like should be more visual or maybe presented in a more fun way. For the consistency, in our case, it helped a lot to have regular meetings, which don't always need to be about working on something, can also be just catching up. Like sometimes you don't always want to feel like you need to deliver something. For the motivational part, I would say to focus on win-win situations. As I said before, in your 20s, lots of things change, you're bombarded with information, you want to try and learn things. and it's difficult to pick, basically. And last, investing their well-being. Finding balance, it's hard for anyone, and for a young person, more so. And there are other things to consider, and some of that is there a knowledge transfer happening in your organization? This because usually the main reason that young people are not involved in any decision making or any important things like that is because they don't have the knowledge, the expertise. But are we doing something about it? That's something to consider. Then, are you providing learning opportunities for them? Again, in your 20s, you are eager to learn things. And most probably, maybe you also have a little bit of time. Then there are internships or jobs opportunities, because sometimes volunteering is not really an option for a young patient. It really depends. And then, are you promoting the youth achievements? I think we all like to be a lot acknowledged for our work. So yeah, I think I'm not sure if I was too quickly. I just wanted to make sure I fit in the time box. So yeah, I think this will be all. Just one mention that we will have a recruitment call anytime soon. So if you're interested, please follow our social media to find out when. Thank you. I think I will stop sharing my screen now.
Yes. Thanks so much, Cornelia, for an awesome presentation. There's lots of really valuable information within the presentation. Before anyone asks questions, we will do another presentation by Charlie, and then at the end, we'll do the question and answer period. So I'd like to now introduce Charlie Bouchard, who's the founder of Eczema Quebec. Charlie is the lead patient partner of the McGill University Hospital Network Center of Excellence for Atopic Dermatitis, and is also the director of Eczema Quebec. She helped establish a formal patient engagement in the first Canadian tertiary care clinic for adult patients with atopic dermatitis, now accredited as the first and only Canadian site within the Global Allergy and Asthma European Network of Atopic Dermatitis Centers of Reference and Excellence. She also leads a patient engagement platform at the McGill University Hospital Network and is the director of Eczema Quebec, where she collaborates with national patient associations to conduct patient-led research and advocacy in collaboration with a network of clinicians, researchers, and healthcare professionals. Charlie integrates knowledge translation, research advocacy, and the development of innovative digital tools, including a mobile health application called Eczema Quebec. So without further ado, Charlie, please go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay, perfect. So I want to start off this talk by just thanking Nicole and the Global Skin team who invited me and gave me the opportunity to share my experience as a patient, but also as a young leader. So this is me. I'm a 26-and-a-half-year-old person involved in the healthcare not-for-profit space. I'm currently the co-founder and co-director of Eczema Quebec. I worked on the Eczema Q mobile health app, and I also take part in the research that happens at the Center of Excellence for Atopic Dermatitis, which is led by Dr. Jack. I also just want to preface this talk by saying that I'm not an expert on youth engagement per se. So I'm really grateful for Cornelia's presentation, who was very insightful. So without further ado, I'd like to take you on my journey with atopic dermatitis as a patient. So for all of my life, I've suffered with this condition. You can see me here as an innocent baby. And if you take a closer look here, you can see the first signs of really dry skin. At that point, I was really not expecting to have to deal with a chronic condition all my life, but I was pretty lucky because in childhood, my disease was mild to moderate and pretty well controlled. I had the help of my parents to manage my disease. Excuse me. And here you can see me having the best time of my life in my teenage years where the disease went into remission. Oh yeah, if you look here, you can see that I'm wearing a short sleeve t-shirt, and this is going to be become more and more important as we progress to this journey. But plot twist, the disease came back striking and more intense than ever as I was getting into adulthood, so late teen years. And if you look closely here, you can see that I'm really not super happy about it. This led to me having a lot of psychosocial burden from my disease. I would have to chase care in any way that I could, but I was no longer followed by my pediatric team. So it took a little while for me to re-enter the healthcare system and be properly managed for my condition. And during that wait period, I started having like intense sleep impairment, and I was really self-conscious of my appearance. People would stop me on the street to ask if I was doing drugs or what was on my face. So that was a pretty challenging situation to deal with. And if you look closely here, you can see that I'm wearing long sleeves, even though I'm inside. And that's just a testimonial of how ashamed I was of the way that my skin looked, and I was trying to hide it at any cost. So in that same era, I had a couple of encounters at the ER because my disease was so poorly managed that it resulted in secondary skin infection. And the photo that you can see here, I was actually struggling with a generalized skin infection. And if you look closely here, you can see that I was studying for an exam that happened the next day, but this is not the only important thing that happened a couple of days after this photo was taken. So I was super lucky to be hospitalized at St. Mary's, where they had just opened a department of dermatology, and I was taken under the care of Dr. Carolyn Jack, who's a world-leading expert in this specific disease. When I first met Dr. Jack, she gave me the opportunity to get involved as a patient partner in her initiatives, basically informing the way that she develops her research, but also in how she engaged with the patient community. I was also at that stage trying to get involved as a study participant. So I was exploring available pharma trials, and I later on got involved as a biobank participant in the research that I'm now coordinating. This is a quick figure just to highlight the different levels at which we can involve patients. And through this experience, I was able to learn from other patients and other experts. Sorry if you're hearing my cat sing in the back. It's like he's having his own little party over there. But all that to say that informing others and engaging with the community really gave me this appreciation that I'm not alone struggling with this disease, and by combining forces, we can better inform the outcomes of the projects that we're trying to do. And so I'm gonna go into a little example of how we engage patients to create the Eczema Q mobile app, because I think this highlights a lot of potential in hearing different opinions and voices on how this can inform a product. So with the patients, we identified that they were struggling accessing care when they were in more remote areas. They expressed a need for personalized medicine that would take into account their own situation. They wanted something that could facilitate the shared decision-making, especially regarding to treatments. So atopic dermatitis is a blooming field where there's new therapeutics that are introduced rapidly, and patients wanted to be able to stay on top of that. And then lastly, they wanted to have a better capacity to self-manage outside of the clinical encounter. So the situation right now for patients struggling with atopic dermatitis is that they get very limited time with their physician in a year. And in that time, they need to exchange so much information about what has been going on with their disease. In addition to that, the physician has to do like a physical exam to assess the severity. And under the RAMQ, currently the time frame allocated for that is 5 to 10 minutes. So as you can imagine, this leads to it being too complex, too time consuming, and that ultimately results in repeating failures, both for physicians and patients. And so with our group, we thought, what can we do? Oops, sorry, I went back. What can we do? The outline of that was that we wanted to actively comply with guidelines and support evidence-based self-management. We did this in a patient-guided approach with the Center of Excellence for Atopic Dermatitis Patient Committee, and we wanted to make sure that the content was expert validated. And this gave birth to this passion project of ours, which is Eczema Q, the medical app. So Eczema Q is a bilingual tool that addresses themes that were highlighted through focus groups with our patient. Patients identified the need for clarity on the basis of AD. So in response to that, we were able to develop a framework for the information that would categorize everything very clearly. We wanted the information to be reliable, and patients wanted to make sure that they weren't exposed to misinformation. They were having a really hard time keeping track of all of the topical treatments that they would receive. So we wanted to work in some education about the topicals. Patients also faced the challenge that whenever they sought care, it wasn't necessarily correlated to the activity of their disease. So together with patients, we decided that we wanted to have a streamlined process for them to document their disease via photos and through questionnaires as well. We also included patient-reported outcome measures that are validated so that patients can better express the severity and the burden of their disease to their physician. So from that, we definitely learned the importance of diverse representation within our own project. And given the fact that the youth is like the primary recipient of tomorrow for the systems that are being set in place today, it's primordial that youth is engaged at an early stage in the project development. My own experience was characterized by 5 main themes that I was able to identify. So obviously, I had an opportunity to engage. This fell at a right timing in my life for me to engage. I had the opportunity to learn through mentorship and training. Through this endeavor, I gained a lot of motivation to help others suffering with the same condition that I had. And obviously, there's a component of luck to that as well. So thinking about how opportunity is important in youth engagement, something that we'd like to do more in the future with Eczema Quebec is to be very mindful about how we provide opportunities for youth to engage with our project. And I think an important piece of that is making sure that there's equally opportunities for valued position and not just volunteer-based position. Because young people, you know, they have a lot of stuff going on, maybe school, maybe part-time work, and volunteering is not always an option, even for motivated people who'd like to get involved. The timing piece is a little bit harder to control, but obviously there are some times where students might become more available. So I'm thinking about like visibility on campus for summer activities, or when cohorts are about to end their progression and graduate, that could be a potential timing to look for in trying to engage young people in our organization. Mentorship and training. obviously, this is a no-brainer. We want to continue offering as much opportunities for the youth, but also adults to learn within our own organization. The motivation piece, I think, is the most essential part in my personal experience. I think even with all of the right setting in place, it's really hard to make meaningful contribution if you're not motivated and you don't feel like your voice has an echo. So I think for Eczema Quebec, at least, we want to make sure that we provide opportunities so that their work can be recognized. And then lastly, luck, this is probably going to be more of my personal experience, but I've been super fortunate to be like at the right time, at the right place, and being provided with all these amazing resources. And without this, like, I don't know that I'd be as successful as I am today. So I just wanted to throw that in there. I think that it's really a melting pot of getting all of these elements together to set the stage for a fruitful collaboration with the youth. So my takeaways from creating this presentation, which was really insightful for me as well, just because youth engagement is not a topic that I reflect on as often as I should probably, but it's that patient experiences and people basically sharing their struggles can definitely inspire the youth to get involved. The opportunities, timing, mentorship, the motivation and luck components can also play a role. The youth engagement to me is a critical part of especially sustainability for organization, as they'll be able to grow and contribute in a very meaningful way. And then lastly, I think having the youth taking part in advocacy is also a key piece of like shaping the future of healthcare in a way that will best serve this segment of the population. So before I let you go, I just want to give a quick shout out to the team that I work with and my collaborators, without who I would never be in this position today. And I also wanted to highlight the amazing work of the brilliant young people that I work with, which you can see in yellow here. And obviously this wouldn't be a presentation without thanking the network of sponsors and collaborators who make the platform possible on a daily basis. Lastly, I just want to quickly mention that if there are people that have questions in French, I would be more than happy to answer them during the question period. So thank you so much for listening to me. It's been an honor.
Thank you so much, Charlie, for an awesome presentation. And thank you again, Cornelia, for a wonderful presentation. So now that we've heard more information about youth engagement and the elements of why it's important, the floor is now open to anyone to ask questions or also share their experiences about youth engagement within their own organization. So I see, Sarah, you do have a question. Feel free to also turn on your cameras and unmute yourself so we can see everyone's beautiful faces. Hello, everybody. Sarah, did you want to ask your question yourself? I'm also happy to read it out loud. Okay, maybe I'll go ahead and read it out loud. So the question for Cornelia is, what do you mean by focusing on win-win situations and keeping youth motivated? Would you have any concrete examples?
Yeah, I think I was, I meant about trainings or opportunities that would help them grow as well. Like, I don't know, they are bad public speakers. Okay, help them growing their voice to do that. So.
Thanks, Cornelia. I also have, I think, Janina, you have your hand up as well.
Yes, I hope now everything works from my side, because I'm very excited about this topic. I want to be a part of this discussion. So thank you so much for the presentations. And maybe I would like to add to Cornelia. I think she mentioned that not everyone is able to actually volunteer and to contribute to organization work. And what I noticed from our work, not only at IFPA, but my previous work, that in order to engage the youth, we need to find something what they like to do, what they're doing with their peers, what they do during their free time. So it's not to ask them, would you like to participate in this campaign? Would you like to contribute to this? But actually engage them in the activities that they like. For example, our IFPA ambassadors, when they meet together, when they do things they like, they come up with new ideas, and then they start planning different campaigns from their side. So if they first engage in, let's say, just hanging out or playing a video game together, because they're sharing their experience with people who have the same issues, we're being understood, we can explain how it is to live with that disease, and because they're empowered by each other, they come up with ideas how to push it further, what to create, how to invite other people. So I think the main focus is just of the youth having fun together.
Thanks so much, Gina, for your insights. I'm also going to go back to Sarah's other question here, which is a question for Charlie for a paid position concerning the youth engagement. Where would you get finances? And I think this might be a question for a lot of people as well, just trying to find resources to financially provide honorariums for young people.
Yeah, definitely. So a big part of that for us has been partnering with Miguel and looking at the opportunities for summer bursary projects to involve like medical students in our activities. But more recently, I've been also trying to work in some funds for consultancy on specific projects to make sure that I have a little bit of space to at least value a meeting. If it's not a paid position, I just want to make sure that I value the time of the consultant so they don't see the engagement as like partly a burden. So I think that's a part of it, but it's a really good question. Like seeking funding for positions, especially in not-for-profit space, when the funding isn't like governmental, it can be very challenging, and that's something that we also struggle with.
I'll also say that if a paid position isn't possible, sometimes it might not be as big as that, but you can also provide gift cards to just some form of acknowledgement in any way can be valuable for young people. So it doesn't need to be too big, but it can also be significant in that way as well. Janina, is your hand still up as well, or is it just from the past?
No, my computer is not functioning anymore.
No problem at all. Is that Emily?
Yes. So hi, my name's Emily. I work for Mia Thrives. We're a Canadian organization. We really want to get youth involved. Something that we're working on right now is there's some government grants in Canada for summer internships, and the government actually pays the interns. And I think one of the things that I really want to work on with someone, if we do get an intern for the summer, is to start making some content for youth, like TikToks, maybe like TikToks about the skin condition that we fundraise for, because for me, there's like a bit of a learning curve. Like I don't quite get TikTok. So I think that's something that like we want to be in that space, but like for youth, but also then need some help from youth to like get there. Is that something that anyone has like experienced before, like trying to get on that platform or trying to like create content for youth?
I can give our example. Well, not exactly from EPF, but from EMSP, the umbrella organization for MS. They recently started the youth platform, and we had some trainings. Before they started this initiative, they had organized trainings on how to run a social media campaign. with some trainers focused on that. So it really helps to make the posts more professional. And yeah.
Thanks. And sorry, just to take a note of that. So what was the information, like the training? Like, was that training from somebody for those posts, or?
Yeah. It's a organization called the Good Lobby.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, I'll look into that.
That's a great point, though, the social media aspect of advocacy and trying to get people to join is a big piece. Like you said, lots of people are online in the digital age. So how do we create content that is maybe appealing to young people is a topic of, I think, interest for a lot of patient organizations. Are there other questions for Cornelia and Charlie about anything that they presented? Otherwise, I think we also have some questions for the folks in the audience as well. I'll put the first one in the chat box, but really it's about where is your organization at within the youth engagement journey? And there must be a reason why you joined today's workshop, maybe just getting some information about youth engagement or how to get young people involved and sustain your organization. So if anyone wants to share about their own journey involving or trying to involve young people, that'd be great.
We are working together with a Dutch organization for people, the young adults indeed, and we're trying to get them involved immediately in our organization. How do we make it easier and more attractive for people in the age of 18 to 25 to step on board, to share their stories and their knowledge and what they want to learn. Yeah, we are collaborating internationally. Should also be hopefully some challenge for them. So we try to create challenges that they have something to learn as well.
Thanks, Lex, for sharing your experience. Helen, you have your hand up as well.
Yeah, we do a lot of work with youth and have tried to get creative in how we get them involved with our organization. So a few things just to mention that might be worthwhile for other people to look into, but one of the things we do apply to the Canada Summer Jobs Program that you were talking about. We've had a student for the last 2 years and have applied again for funding. It's a really great opportunity to get students engaged. One of the other things we've done is there's actually a local community college I'm based in Ottawa, Canada, and we've approached their advertising program and have engaged. We've done it for three times now, and engaged the class to develop awareness campaigns for us. It's all part of their curriculum that they need to do anyways, and it's free. And they come up with some incredible work. So it's a resource, and they actually look for clients. So we were technically their client. They operate as an advertising agency. They pitch their ideas. We select the group that we wanted to work with, and then they develop the campaign with our feedback. And finally, the other thing that we do a lot is engage with med students. We reach out to dermatology schools, and they actually do a lot of the work for us for our website, like creating new content. A lot of them are interested in applying for dermatology residence spots, so are looking to increase their CVs with work that they've done for us, so, or other patient organizations as well for that matter. But it's again another really great resource that is often free as well, because they're looking for the byline for their CVs, and we get some really great content. Everything we do, we always send through medical review, but it's a really great starting point as well.
Those are awesome tips, Helen. Thank you for sharing. It really, I think that's a situation where it's a win-win. You know, the students are getting the opportunity to practice, and you're getting the awareness campaign content. Jaime, go ahead.
Yes, well, I'm from Portugal, the Portuguese Association for Psoriasis, and well, we are not actually not with the objective of actually involving the younger people in our organization, but addressing them regarding their disease in a way that they actually participate themselves in well, we don't call it a campaign, you call it a program. It's some kind of a talent program that we are actually addressing in schools, working with the Ministry of Education, and there are some classes that they actually don't have a fixed program for that classes. Each school can choose whatever they want, and we thought this was a way of not only transmitting knowledge about the disease, about the psoriatic disease, but at the same time doing some kind of therapy in the classes where the young patients on that class can actually feel more integrated and included with their fellows. So the idea is we did 3 years ago, we did a series of episodes on some kind of trying to use the basis of the popular series Friends on television. So we call it Soft Friends. We involve young patients as actors, and the director and the writer of the script is also not so young, but anyway, a young person, which is actually an actor and a psoriatic patient as well. So he was really in the subject, and we published those 6 episodes in our social media channels, and then we asked the students on that classes to recreate some of the scenes that we choose, for them to recreate in some kind of a context, with voting on the likes, with the likes on Facebook and Instagram, and they use TikTok to actually publish to apply for their acting for this contest. It was it was some kind of a pilot project, but it was so good, so well received by the Education Ministry because of a different approach of classes, and now we are doing it more intensely this year, hopefully reaching more schools and more students. Is being very well accepted, and this is a way of course passing also the knowledge of the work that the association is doing regarding the advocacy for the patients. Thank you.
That's amazing, Jaime, that you're able to do that. Seems like a very creative way to engage.
We have to work with professionals. Fortunately, I have support from the industry, enough support to actually I just said, these guys, I want to address the young people, and they come up with this idea of Soft Friends. I said to them, I want to go to schools, and they come up with this idea of this talent program. So I mean, it's the way to do a proper job, because ourselves, even with volunteers, I mean, I'm not able to rule volunteers, to do that kind of work. It's the way it is. We don't have any support rather from the industry to our projects.
Yeah, I think there's a theme of trying to work with different agencies, government bodies, ministries to kind of get the work done for your organizations and seeing where those resources are. So that's super valuable information. Emily, you did have your hand. Yeah.
So one thing that we've been doing at Mia Thrives to try to get youth involved is we have a weekly podcast called the Mia Thrives Podcast. And every week, someone joins us on the podcast and just shares their story about living life with EB. And we're just kind of trying to share stories of people thriving with EB and living full lives. And so we've been trying to involve more youth in that. So we've had now quite a few teenagers joining us on the podcast. And it's also been really great because then they share it on their social media channels. And I think it's given us the opportunity to have more youth kind of come in contact with Mia Thrive. So that's something that we're going to try to continue doing, putting out a new episode every week. And then we've also been trying to get children involved more in our organization and raising awareness. So we recently just launched a new program where a school can apply to have a member of the Mia Thrives team come in and give a speech to the school raising awareness for epidermolysis bullosa. And then after the speech, we do something fun with the kids. So create a butterfly craft. So each kid creates a piece of artwork, and then they all come together to create like a big kaleidoscope of butterflies. So far we've only run that at one school, and it went really well. So we're really hoping that more schools will get involved next year for EB Awareness Week, or, you know, hopefully we could also be just doing it anytime, not just for occasion, to raise awareness for EB.
That's lovely. I just like visually in my mind, I saw that, and it's such a beautiful project. That's awesome, Emily.
Thank you.
I also see that there's some comments in the chat. Julio, I see that you have a comment and question. If you'd like, you feel free to turn on your camera and unmute the yourself to ask the question. And if not, I'm happy to go ahead and ask it.
Hello, everyone. I cannot turn on the camera. I don't know why I need some kind of permission.
Try now.
Okay. Here I am. Hi, everybody. I enjoyed a lot your presentations, Cornelia and Charlie, and I'm taking notes on what Jaime said and Emily said about that. That podcast is an interesting thing to do to engage the young people. So I put like a comment and a final question in the chat, and quickly, I'm from.
Are you there, Julio? I think the connection might have broken. While he's trying to come on, I can go ahead and read the question. So their organization in Argentina is collaborating with ALBA, which is the albinism organization in Spain. Oh, there we go. You're there. Hi.
Sorry, I don't know what happened. My computer crashed. Well, actually, Zoom crashed, but here I'm back again. How I was saying, we will be participating in a project with collaborating with the Albinism Association in Spain, and they got some funds from a project from this program Erasmus Plus from the European Union. And well, it's about creating engagement with the young people, and there is a project to create content and also guides for young people to be involved in organizations and be kind of the leaders in the future. Also, we are starting getting all the guidelines from Spain, from ALBA, and we have to gather young people with albinism. This is oriented to with low vision. It's the other track that we have with albinism. One is the dermatology, and one is the low vision. So in this opportunity, we are having kind of problems with the engage of the young people and committing with the organization. We are kind of a new organization. We have just 3 years, and we have a pandemic in the middle, so it was really difficult to to grow up our foundation. So what I was asking, what advice do any of you that you're here to give me to help engage the young people to be participating in this important project that we are collaborating with, which are some tips on how to approach them or make them feel motivated about this project. I know we have to still a lot of information to receive and to share, but still I would like to know which would be your best advices. Thank you.
I'd like to maybe step onto that one because I feel a strong connection since the organization that I incorporated was also birthed through the pandemic. And it has been a challenge reaching people in presence. A couple of ways that we try to engage our community was first with partnering with specialty clinics that see a lot of patients in the disease area that you're interested in, so that they can disseminate some of the educational material that you put forward and raise a little bit of awareness around the activities of your group. But I feel like the place that we had most success for creating like a very strong and engaged community was really through social media, especially for young people. If I remember correctly, I think 41% of our segment are between 25 and 34 that are engaged with our social media. So yeah, I guess that would be my recommendation to you, and maybe looking at some aesthetics that tend to appeal to people in that age group. I know that's a big focus that the social media manager that I work with has been working on.
Thank you so much, Charlie. I will take note.
Thanks, Charlie. I know that there's one more question in the chat there from Sarah again. For Ms. Crawford, actually, where and how do you approach MD students to participate?
So kind of twofold, really. One of the ways we started was we offer a summer studentship program to students. So it kind of started from there. We actually have done, like, we're aware of the dermatology schools and the research center. So we reach out there, but it's kind of gotten to the point now where they actually solicit us, asking if they have any work for them to do, because word of mouth, you engage one student and they get to add something to their resume, then they tell their friends in their class, and then they contact us. So sometimes, we're victim to that success because we don't have enough work for them to do, and they keep contacting us looking for stuff to do. But that's kind of, it sort of grew organically once we engaged a couple. They come to us now.
That's a great problem to have, to be well known within the dermatology community for students. That's really awesome. I think Anne-Marie, you also had something to add. So each year you have a patient panel with young people. That's awesome. Who are very active. And then beyond the panel, they're starting to grow and they're becoming independent, and will stay connected with Lupus Europe for support and advice. That's really great. Just having young people and getting their voices out there and sharing their experiences as young patients can be super valuable, and advocating for themselves. That's a great example. I also wanted to open the floor for any more last minute questions. I recognize that it's 11:01 already, at least here in Ottawa, wherever you are. So if you have any more questions, I'm happy to facilitate that. And if not, I will also, if that's okay with Charlie and Cornelia, share the recording. And then if you have any information in the slides that you want, maybe Cornelia and Charlie can send over a PDF of the slides for that information. And I also want to say thank you to everyone. And this is not the last conversation about youth engagement for global skin. At Elevate 2023, so in Brussels, which is in a few months from now, I know lots of you are already registered. We will also be having a workshop on how to create a youth engagement strategy. So if you're coming to the conference, that'll be a really great workshop, and the EPF will be presenting on that. And then also, I think Emily is still here. We'll be having a side meeting for all the young patient leaders. So it'd be great for Charlie, if you're coming, for you, Charlie, Emily, to come and join that side meeting. So yeah, it's a great opportunity to meet everyone here. And if you haven't registered for Elevate 2023, please do. And if you have questions about it, just email me because seats are filling up quickly and hopefully we can, I'll see you there. Yeah. Thank you so much, Cornelia and Charlie, for your presentations. It was really awesome to hear from you, and all your knowledge and expertise is super valuable. And thanks everyone for sharing your tidbits and advice for how to engage young people within your organizations. Thanks everybody. Have a great rest of the day.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye everyone.